Hey, hi everybody. We want to welcome you. We are so glad you are here. And I want to tell you the name of this broadcast, and I'm going to introduce my special guest here, but she's here once a month with me. So this is news before it happens. And what we want to do is we want to inform you before anything happens to your child or anything happens to any child in your vicinity or your circle of influence. And it's also this is news before it happens because we tend to be very prophetic and ahead of the curve, partly because of our education, but partly because God is with us and He gives us that news before it happens. And this is Bobi Ryan, known as Bobi Ryan. She is the Rev FM radio host, and she's been a solid board member for, gosh, how long now, Bobi?
I think it's been 2 years.
Has it been two
I think
years?
so.
Yes.
Almost, maybe.
Yes,
Almost. Getting close.
she's a powerhouse. So her contribution here is just to be on these webinars once a month, and she's got a powerful voice, and I'm just really glad to have her.
I'm so thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you that I can be a part of this and making a difference.
Thank you.
That's
And you are.
the important thing.
You are. The more education we get out there, the more lives we can save, the more children that we can rescue, and the more arrests that we can partially be responsible for.
And raising awareness.
Yes.
That's the most important thing because
Yes.
people still don't know. People don't understand what child trafficking is about, what's happening in this world. And that's what these podcasts are for, that hopefully you can share this with your friends, your family, your child's friends, parents, and we can raise awareness one life at a time.
And we want to give you tools. We want to give you solutions. We want to give you the right kind of things to get and things that you can use that will really help protect your child and how to talk to your child. So we've been to many presentations live in schools and different places, and the parents come up and say, I don't know how to talk to my child about this.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times they're afraid they're seeing too much for a child that's too young and destroying their innocence. But what we found is that children know a lot more than you think they do. And parents need to have that conversation with them much earlier than you would think.
That's true.
Because they are hearing it from 7-year-olds, they're hearing it at school, 8-year-olds are hearing it at school, 9-year-olds are hearing it at school, they're hearing about it, they're seeing it on television, they're being groomed as they're watching any kind of social media, TV, you name it.
And you have to get comfortable with those conversations. I can say that as a parent, I failed miserably at that. Fortunately, my son, he's 23 now and he's okay. But I was terrible at having those uncomfortable conversations because pretty much what you said. I mean, he was in a Christian school and I didn't want to rob him of his innocence.
Yes.
And it was also uncomfortable. And I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know what to tell him to be looking out for. I didn't want to raise him with fear. And I avoided a lot of those conversations, to be honest.
And you know what? There's a big difference in fear and panic and terror. There's a huge difference in that and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness equips, fear paralyzes.
Oh, great point.
And so if you're instilling fear, that could be because sometimes parents have had bad experiences as children and they're filtering through that bad experience. And so it comes across with a great deal of anxiety or judgment or anger or whatever. And we really want to help parents be able to just absolutely talk to your child in an informative and calm and a way that sends the message to your child that you are in their corner. You have got their back. And even if they did something already that they shouldn't have, or they saw something they shouldn't have, then it's okay that you're the person they can come talk to and feel safe. And that's what we want to do. So I just want to remind you also to sign up for our parent webinars, and we'll talk about that as we go tonight. But tonight, our subject is going to be AI. And, I want to talk about arrests that have already taken place locally here in Utopia, Martin County, and the Treasure Coast, and what is the fastest growing aspects of child trafficking. Mm-hmm. So, Bobi, can you give us some of the recent stats from NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was just in 1 year, the last year, they've reported that online enticement for predators and traffickers has gone up 77%.
That's a giant number.
It's a giant number. That's almost double.
You see, in 1 year. Now, this is 2025. if you start adding up what has happened from January till August in 2026, we're going to see that number jump, maybe even double.
It's growing. The amount of predators, the amount of illicit material out there, it's growing all of the time. Sadistic online enticement. And I don't want to dive too far down that rabbit hole, but that's going to involve cult activity from groups that are just sick and want to destroy children. And a lot of times in these cults, they do this for advancement because there's a status about it. And it's just, I mean, it's just disgusting and just tells you how degenerated our culture has become in some areas. They are driven to do this by, it's just evil. That there's no other way to phrase it. It's just pure evil.
It's satanic.
And so those type of online enticements that are cult related, Satan related, have gone up 115%.
What? 1 year. 2024, from end of 2024 to the end of 2025, 115%. That's insane.
And I mean, that just tells me that, you know, everything that says in the Bible about the last days, about the confusion and how evil's going to grow, that's what we're seeing.
And they're calling good evil and evil good. Oh, we're seeing a lot of that, aren't we?
Everywhere, all over pop culture,
and that's right,
government and every place else. We're living in those days,
and we're not here preaching. I would say neither one of us are very religious, but we are relational with God, and we do know Him, and we're excited to share with you the things that He has given us about all of this because He loves children, and we do too.
And that's a wonderful point. You know, what we're doing, yes, we are women of faith, but if you're not, that's okay. This is really good information for you. This is for everybody. This is not a Christian podcast. We just happen to be women of faith, but this is information that every single person needs to have to protect your children.
That's right.
And then there's another topic, you know, that I don't think a lot of parents understand what it is, and that's sextortion. And that is one of the fastest growing gateways to child trafficking. And that's gone up 70%.
Actually, yes, 70%. The thing about sexting and sextortion that we need to probably underscore is that it already was the fastest growing gateway. That I want to underscore that, what she just said, because it already was way up there in statistics. And even in just 1 year since then, it's gone up 70%.
And I think a lot of parents don't know what that is exactly.
Let's explain that.
And because it's so innocent how it starts. It starts with a young person, boy or girl, most likely boy, as we'll talk about that a little later.
Out too.
But you know, where somebody becomes friends with them, they think that this is their friend.
Yes.
Or they think it's their boyfriend or their girlfriend and say, you know, hey, why don't you send me one of those pictures? Send me. And so, you know, they do because they think it's kind of fun or whatever because they're kids. And then before you know it, this person owns them because if you don't send me more pictures, well, I'm going to send that picture to your parents, to everybody at school. I'm going to tell the teachers what you're doing.
That's right.
And then so now they have to have more and more pictures. And then it can lead to actual physical assaults because this victim is so trapped by that person because it's extortion for sex.
And it's also money. So they will force that child, if you don't send me a picture, if you don't send me more pictures, and then they threaten to expose them, but then they say, well, if you don't want me to do this, send me $500. And there's case after case after case of children from really nice families who've gone in and got mom's credit card and paid them the $500 because they were so terrified. And then they go on to teach them how to end their lives. And there has been case after case after case where this is going on. But we're going to start talking tonight about how AI is involved in all of that.
In all of it.
Yes.
So hold on to your seatbelts because I'm about to give you the stats. That is the reason why we're doing this program tonight. And that is AI. AI approaches to children for predators, for traffickers, the use of bots. In just 1 year has gone up 6,333%. 6,000% using AI. Granted, we're using AI more for everything. You know, you can't really trust anything you see on TV or social media or anything because AI is everywhere. But now they're using it to traffic children.
So here's the issue. We in our Don't Take the Bait programs, oh, by the way, we're going to a local mental health facility soon that has 500 traffic children there, and we're giving them the whole Don't Take the Bait presentation. I'm so excited about that. But in that presentation for kids, we have pictures of warehouses filled with thousands and thousands of iPhones or droids that are connected to computers, and they're going tick, 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 tick. And it's thousands of them going all at once, and the lights are going. Guess what they're doing?
What are they doing?
They're approaching and contacting children. Every tick, every second, there's thousands of approaches going out to children because of AI.
And so if you don't know, that's what a bot is,
That's
right? That's a bot.
insane.
It's a
Yes.
robot
Yes.
dialing. You know, we
Right.
all get those bot calls selling you insurance or taking care of your student loans or whatever, but this is the same thing.
I'm so angry about this.
But it's attracting children.
Babies, little ones, they're innocent. You know, it's not that children are bad, and I have parents go, "Oh well, my child wouldn't do that." We've had that conversation. We've got this under control. You know, just like, oh my gosh, no adult could withstand something like that, let alone a child that's innocent. And the traffickers and predators know it, and they've got that technology.
And being exposed to images that they'll send, it affects children.
That's right.
And because of all this, child trafficking has skyrocketed 952%. That's almost 1,000% increase. And since then, in this year, I mean, that was 2005 number, or excuse me, 2025 numbers. Now in 2026, child trafficking arrests have taken a huge, gigantic leap again.
Have you noticed on social media how many arrests that the sheriffs and the police departments are posting?
Martin County, St. Lucie County, Palm Beach, Broward County. I'm seeing it in my scroll
All
every
over the
day.
United States. Homeland Security is all over this. This is what their main focus is now.
Mhm.
By the way, did you know that we were asked by the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office in New Jersey to create, because we have some expertise, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that. We have some expertise in being able to train law enforcement. I've been doing this for 10 years, but I have a law enforcement trainer on board who's amazing. He's got 35 years under his belt, and we are creating videos and getting better and better at it, thanks to the next big, I'm going to call him the IT heartthrob. Wait till you meet this guy.
That's how you've always wanted to be known, isn't it?
I don't know about all that, but
He's pretty talented, I'll give it that.
He's very talented, and we'll introduce you to him. And I said, when we go to presentations, we're just going to have a whole group of girls come just because they would like to meet him. And he's turning red.
I was just gonna say.
his expectations for me are quite high.
Oh, I got vision. Why do you think they call me visionary? Why is my church visionary? Why is my school visionary? All right. So, where were we?
I'm not really sure.
We got
I think
sidetracked
we just went down a weird, funny trail there. But talking about the child trafficking and the numbers, that it's up 1,000%.
Yes. Oh, I was telling you what the Monmouth County Sheriff asked us to do. So he asked us to create the FIFA World Cup video law enforcement training that went to 7 states in sheriff's departments and offices. And then Homeland Security got so excited about it, they sent it across the whole United States.
That's amazing. So what those videos are doing are teaching law enforcement the things to look for
Yes.
in people that could be predators
Yes.
and people that are
Like,
victims as
Let's
well, right?
say they do an average traffic stop, and there's all these children in the car, and maybe they don't look like they're from the same family. You know, there's all these signs. There's tattoos. There's just demeanors, the way the children are acting, a person doing all the talking for them, control. You know, you can clearly see it. And so he's training officers. The exciting thing is that it's not exciting, but it's very telltale. Wherever we've been to live train officers, only 2% of them were aware of most of the material that we brought them.
That's
So
fantastic.
they do not have this information. Now that's exciting to me because we get to do that for them.
Mhm.
And that is a gift. And I'm so excited to be able to give law enforcement something. And you know,
Yeah.
we have donors that are stepping up and helping us to pay for this training and to get the technology that we need. You know, you can be a part of that if you want to. You can go to our website, u-act.org. We're always up for donations. We're not here just to drum up money, but it takes money to take an organization like this forward. And we have lots of announcements and surprises
And
coming
well,
up.
I think that that's information that every one of us needs, not just law enforcement or school teachers,
Mhm.
but we all walk through airports. And now I've
Yeah.
seen that in every airport, on the back of the bathroom door,
Mhm.
it talks about sex trafficking. And
Finally.
I mean, it's wild, but I feel like we all need to like know those little clues
Yes.
to see if a child is in a vulnerable situation and
Well,
what to
you
do
know,
about it.
if there's an older person or even an older teen with a younger girl or boy that seems to be doing all the talking and there seems to be control, and you just have this feeling inside, pay attention to that inner compass
Mhm.
and start looking for certain tattoos.
Yeah.
There can be tattoos that say ho, daddy, a crown. It could say king. You know, there's barcodes. There's ownership
Yeah.
details in tattoos, and
Yeah.
and this is sometimes how they communicate with each other. As
And
I
you just
say,
said something actually, if a child's with an older child,
yeah,
most of us think that if we were to see a child that's trafficked, they would be with an old man,
no,
you
no,
know,
no, no,
a
no,
lecherous
no,
old man or
no,
something.
here's
But they could be with a woman that
Yeah.
looks like their mom. They could be with an older teenage
A
girl. They could be
teenager.
an older sister.
Mhm.
And you just don't know. But
So
to know
here-
these little tricks to look
Here's the
for.
thing, the older teenager who's controlling a younger, maybe 10-year-old child is there because the trafficker, that the name for that person is the bottom. That's what the trafficker calls
Mhm.
them. And the trafficker sends them out to do the dirty work because their home's staying safe. And if anybody gets arrested and gets charges, it's going to be the bottom and it's going to be the victim.
Yeah.
And so we're teaching law enforcement how to understand this, how to recognize it, and many, many, many more signs. Also, how to recognize cult activity. We just talked about how big
Yeah.
the cult activity is getting,
Mhm.
and there are so many signs that go with that. We're also affiliated with a technology group called Thorn, and Thorn is a very well-known, very high-end. Do you know what their whole focus is now?
What's that?
Sadistic online enticement, because it's growing in such leaps and bounds. See, it's not just vulnerable children they're after. They want to take down the football star. They want to go after the successful child who's winning all the spelling bees or who's got perfect, you know, straight A's
Mhm.
and is a leader in their community. They get more from their group by attacking
Some
and
sort of
hitting on somebody like
sick
that.
prestige of some
sick.
kind.
It's sick.
Yeah.
It's the sickest thing you can possibly imagine. But the problem is we don't understand it or wrap our heads around it because we don't think that way.
Yeah.
We love children, but you have to start thinking that way so that you can protect children, because otherwise you're leaving them out there in the cold. It's like throwing a 2-year-old out in the middle of a busy street and saying, "Don't get hit, honey."
Mhm.
You know, you can't have that kind of trust with children anymore.
Yeah.
And we just want to give you the tools and understanding.
Mhm.
So families have to begin to recognize that understanding and protecting their children is just the most crucial thing that you could do right now. And we do have answers. It's just a matter of education. It's a matter of taking steps. And we're going to go into this in greater detail this month in July with our parent webinar. That's the last Wednesday of the month. And that's when we'll have our Blue Task Force leader, James Billig, who is our law enforcement trainer. I just spoke about him. 35 years of experience under his belt in law enforcement and threat mitigation. He's been decorated by a former governor and has tremendous insight into cult activity online. So,
And so if you don't know, there is the last Wednesday of every month, there's this awareness video that we're doing
Mhm.
for parents.
Right.
It's free. It's free for parents to sign up. We just want you
Yeah.
to get it into all of your
Yes.
friends' hands, all of your parents. It doesn't matter if they have kids or not. We need to raise awareness about this.
Okay.
And these are great webinars to just gather a lot of information and to share.
I have a question for you. Who out there wants to be involved? who feels a little helpless right now and they'd actually like to do something that would help us, that would help this cause? I'll tell you what you can do. You can go to any of our social media pages that you're watching on right now. We'll be posting the QR code for the parent webinar. Share it with your friends. Get people to follow our pages. Whatever media page you're watching on, please ask your friends to follow. Now, these are new pages for us because we started out under another name, Florida Faith Alliance, and we built that up, and then we changed our name to United Against Child Trafficking because we're going nationwide and we needed an overarching name. And so we have to start all over again with our pages in January. We've only had our pages since January. So help us build. You could help us do that. That we would love to have your help, your comments, and maybe there's other ways you could get involved too. We train presenters.
And invite your friends
Yes.
to connect with UACT on social media, because there's just a lot of content that we're putting out there every week. Arrests, raise awareness, all kinds of things. So make sure you just share those links with all of your friends.
That's right.
So this is, it's a gigantic wake-up call that, I mean, no parent, let alone any child, could possibly resist the kind of barrage of information that these kids are getting in images and temptations and luring. So what can a parent do?
Okay.
And what can we offer them right now as a solution?
Bark. Everybody say bark.
Bark.
And bark, because the Bark phone is the best solution we have seen out there, and the Bark app. The Bark phone for younger children, but the older children, parents, you need the Bark app.
But Mom, that's so corny. I want an iPhone.
It looks just like an iPhone. And so it'll go incognito. The only thing it won't let them do, it will not let them even take a nude picture. It won't let them do it.
Can they take any picture on that phone?
They can take pictures, but they can't take a nude picture. It'll recognize the skin content and
Really?
It won't let them do it.
Oh,
And it won't let them send it, and it won't let them receive it. So that's huge. Listen, I got to tell you something. I work with a very high-end Homeland Security agent who's in charge of a lot. He oversees a lot. I don't want to say who he is, but his 12-year-old daughter was sextorted.
Oh, wow.
Now, if his daughter could be sextorted, this can happen to anybody. Now, here's how he explained to me that it happens. So you want to go after a boy, what you would do is you would get pictures of a boy or a video of a boy, or even get a boy to do this and say, hey, look at my muscle. Show me your muscle. And then it comes back. And then, hey, let me show you this. And it keeps going until they've done something sexual, and then boom, they have them.
Wow.
It takes the average child just less than 8 minutes to respond to something like that. That's just children.
Yeah.
And the predators and traffickers know that.
Yeah.
And so, I think most important of all, though, Bobby, is talking to your children.
Yeah. To have open, non-judgmental conversations with your kids is so important. And I will tell you, that's kind of hard as a parent. We all want to be that parent. We got to work on it.
Yes.
We really have to work on it and work on the look on your face when you're talking to your kids. Or when they're doing something that's wrong, do they feel like you're judging them as a person, or are you monitoring their behavior? Like things like that, because you want them to be able to talk to you when they do something wrong.
Or what if they already have?
Yeah.
Do you want them to tell you what they've done without being afraid that you're going to be furious at them?
Or ashamed of them, or that they're going to disappoint you?
Shame has power as long as it remains hidden.
Yeah.
So
getting
them to, that's good. And so getting them to talk, getting them to bring this out is such an important part of healthy relationships of parents with kids. I think one of the university studies that we have looked into, and I really like Culture Reframe because I have a lot of this on there, is that many, many parents, and I will just tell you, because I've been in ministry for 40 years, I probably ministered to over 1,000 people who've come through my doors. 90% of them have been sexually violated.
Wow.
90% of them.
And that's over 40 years.
40
I would say if you
years.
started your ministry today, that number would quadruple.
It's
very
ridiculous.
quickly.
I mean, when I look back over the years and all the people that have been through, I can't even describe how many times it's happened. So, and we've seen a lot of healing with that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that what these university studies showed is that parents who have had prior sexual violation by an uncle or a dad or somebody in the family or a neighbor, stranger, and this is where it all starts. This is where it happens. Most of our traffic victims have that in their background.
Yep.
And because it creates vulnerability and it creates it sustains itself over a period of time. Like you have a big neon sign on your head going, violate me. They can sense it, they can smell it, they know.
And that's true.
They can pick you out in a crowd.
I've had many friends in my life that it just seems over and over again. They were with that guy that seemed great, and then he was an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
They get out of that, and then something happens when they're walking down the street or something, and it like follows them. And that's exactly what I said. It's like, my goodness, it's like she's got a flashing light over her, like somebody abused me.
Yeah.
But that's it, because there's that vulnerability that these predators can sniff out.
Until it's healed. And one of these times, we're just going to spend time telling you about our Power of Art program that does heal, that we've taken to like 500 kids in this area.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is that because many parents have had this happen in their own lives, in their background as children, now you've got this big filter. So when you're talking to your child, you're upset, you're anxious, you're mad because this happened to you. But that's where it's so important to calm down, get the peace compass right in the middle where it needs to be before you talk to your child. And then you want to come across as non-judgmental, loving. I'm not angry, and if maybe you can tell them this happened to you in a way that won't promote fear, but will promote education and awareness.
Yeah, that's so true. Such good advice. Such good advice, that tone of voice. And, aside from that conversation with your kids, you also got to monitor. You gotta check.
Gosh, thank you.
You gotta check what they're doing.
No matter what.
You gotta look at their phone. And, maybe you can make a game out of it. Maybe you can make it fun. I mean, it was it got to be a thing with my son every day when he'd go to school. I would say, make good choices and don't do drugs. And it was every day. And so it got to be like a funny thing. I know, Mom, I won't do drugs. But, it became so natural that.
It got ingrained.
Right, exactly.
That's good.
So yeah, you gotta monitor, I mean, having the apps on the phone where you know where they are at every minute.
That's right.
Air tag your kid if you need to.
The Bark app will tell you what texts your kids are getting, also tell you what websites they're on, and in gaming, who's contacting them. Wouldn't you like to know that instead of just trying to guess or go back and look at their phone? So our Homeland Security guy, I think his daughter's 16 or 17 now, holds out his hand. And she hands him his phone every single night, and he goes through the entire thing and looks at everything. If you don't have time to do that, the Bark app is the option, but then the discussion that follows.
Yeah.
So let's bring another stat into the picture now. Do you know how much the online activity against young boys has increased over the last year? And do you have any idea why?
I don't know the numbers, but I believe I know why. And I do know that, we don't think about boys being as victimized or as vulnerable as little girls, but that is so very wrong. And there are good reasons for it. Because the bots that we were talking about, those phones that make all those calls and send all those pictures, they did the stats, and AI compiled the numbers. And the fact is that boys respond quicker to girls, to visual images, to nude photos. They respond quicker, and they also are more receptive to sexual suggestions. And I mean, you don't need to be a biology teacher to understand boys have testosterone. That's what makes them men, and the brain develops differently and
it's
slower.
actually at a slower rate.
It is. Sorry,
guys.
son. Nothing personal.
No.
But no, I mean, we all know that. If you're a parent, you know that between boys and girls. But it also, testosterone connects with vision. And that's what makes men so much more visual. That's how God created them. So all of that, and the sheer number shows that it makes it just easier to extort little boys.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the stats. So the stats are that online approaches of boys has gone up 98% in 1 year.
Wow.
Because of
doubled.
what you just said.
Wow.
Is that insane? Everything's insane. I think everything's insane. That's all
It
it is.
is.
But
Yeah.
but it doesn't make sense to people like us. But if to the predator and trafficker, you just gotta follow the money
Yeah.
because it makes those kids easier to sextort them.
And that's the thing that we have to remember is that because it seems so unfeasible to any of us that are sound-minded at all, we think, oh, it can't be. Like, that would never be my kid. It's not really that bad. Like, I know that that happens in like the dark corners of the world somewhere.
Or it's conspiracy.
Or yeah, that's even worse. But you have to open up your eyes to the numbers. And again, it's raising awareness because I don't know what the numbers are for people who think that child trafficking is a conspiracy. I don't know. And I don't know that I want to know those numbers. But there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that it's happening.
Or they think it's happening overseas. And they don't think it's happening in our little community around us. But I guarantee you, in a 5-mile radius of wherever you live, there is trafficking going on.
No, it's only in the inner city, or it's only in third world countries, or it's only, in mobs and gangs. No, when you look at the police reports from the small towns all across this nation,
Our
it's
town.
happening.
Stewart was voted one of the most top 10 most beautiful
beach towns in the
to
in
live
the world.
in the United States. It's very yuppie. It has a lot of older generation here. We're one of the top ones.
Yeah.
And they're arresting people right and left. They just put out a warrant for 18 people of this last year. They got 12 of them, and 6 of them were just a month ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
It is happening.
Yeah,
All right,
here.
So let's just talk a little bit more about the sadistic online approaches of cults.
Okay.
And why it's so important to just rip the covers off this darkness. And it's a good thing we got a lot of prayer cover as we talk about this. We did do a lot of praying, and we do a lot of praying. It's time to bring the truth out. It's time to get the church involved. And certainly Christians and Jews, we're imploring you, pray, pray, pray for the children. So
I think that, and not to get over spiritual there, but I think that because God's heart is for children. Jesus even talked about that. Let the children come to me. And we have to become like children if we want to see the kingdom of heaven. So Satan hates children. And if he can destroy children, he's not only robbing them of their future and the destiny that God put them on this earth for, and all the good works that he had intended for them to do, but he's also breaking God's heart. And he knows that.
He's looking for more power. And that's how he gets it. And it's traditional in the Bible. The shedding of innocent blood brings power to satanic darkness. All right, so that's enough of that.
Yeah.
We're not going to go too far down that hole. We know a lot more than we're telling you, but we're going to give it to you in doses so that it's not so overwhelming, and that you can also talk to your kids about it and let them know that this kind of approach is probably going to come their way and what to do when it happens. And don't respond. Don't give them your name. Don't tell them where you live. Give them zero information. As soon as this approach comes, tell mom about it. Tell dad about it.
So Lynn, let me ask you something. So the what you're planning on doing on the last Wednesday night, would that be something appropriate that I could sit down with my little girl or my little boy and say, hey, let's watch this together?
Yes, the one that Jimmy is doing, I think so. You have to decide at what age you think your child is ready for that. But I will tell you that we are going to talk in more depth and detail about these cults and the activities and what they're trying to get children to do, so that people are aware and they can put a stop to it before it happens.
So is it something that a parent could watch, and then if they feel it's appropriate for their child?
I would watch it first. Now, what
Yeah.
we did, we made a mistake on our first one and we did not record it. However,
They will be recorded.
we
in the
have fixed
future.
that problem.
Okay.
So you'll be able to go back and watch it again. I would watch it first and then I would process, maybe you want to show them parts, maybe you want to have the discussion, maybe you want them to see somebody like James Billick, who's an authority figure, obviously looks like a policeman.
Mhm.
He has a
Yeah.
lot of authority. And I think that would be excellent.
I'm just thinking that could be an easy launching pad, because as a parent, sometimes
Good
we
idea,
don't know where to
Bobby.
start. We don't know how to start this
know.
conversation. So if we start by watching somebody else talk about it, and now at home we can say like, wow,
Yeah.
did you hear what they were talking about? Have you
That's
ever
right.
heard about anybody at your
Right.
school? Has anybody showed you anything like that? Like, this sounds like a big deal. And like, you're opening that door and peeling that onion a little bit. And it kind of takes the fear away. You don't have to have all the right words. You can rely on experts, to kind of feed some of those words in, and
Wow.
can kind of help you as a parent.
I like the way she thinks. And I think it's a very, very good idea. All right, so let's shift to why I no longer post pictures of children, especially children in my family anymore. We have to understand the online dark web. We have to understand the internet itself is so full of child porn, it is completely overwhelming. By the way, I'm going to have some good news here for you in a minute, but we're going to keep plowing through the mud first. So this is the largest content of porn websites. No matter what they tell you or what they say about
Mhm.
how they're filtering, you're watching a lot more children than you are aware of if you are watching it. They have not filtered it out.
Yeah.
This cycle of pornography is extremely addicting, and it is the fastest growing aspect of child trafficking, it causing the demand, and the
Yeah.
demand fuels the supply.
Mhm.
Now, I will tell you this: we've arrested. Well, I feel like we've arrested them.
You and me?
Well,
Starsky and Hutch right here.
oh yeah. Look out. We're coming after you.
I have not arrested anybody.
Sorry. Slip of the tongue there. Okay, so our local sheriffs and law enforcement have arrested over 66 offenders, pedophiles, traffickers in the last year in our area of the Treasure Coast, which is four counties, the 19th Judicial District. That's Indian River. I'm still laughing about that. Indian River, Okeechobee, St. Lucie, and Martin County.
Mhm.
And they all have one thing in common.
Which is?
They all had child porn in massive amounts. It's known as CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
Well, you see that, like, these educators that have been arrested, principal, all that, when they confiscate the computer, that's what they
So
have
check it
97
out.
images or
It's-
whatever, yeah.
All of the arrests, they have this. So why isn't anybody talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't the news media talking more about this? Why are they burying this? It comes up and then it goes down again. What in the world? I mean, I've been on the news for the last 10 years as a face on South Florida News, as an expert in this to talk about this. But I find that, it goes up, they tell the story, then it goes boop, and 15 more stories come and cover it. And that's how they bury things. And, I mean, they're talking about politics. I want to see some politicians who will rise up and fight this.
Yeah.
And we're about to do a podcast with one, Dan Green, who's running for Congress. And that'll be in 2 weeks. We'll have him. We're going to actually film at Mayor Brian Foley's house. And I'm
That's exciting.
excited about that.
That is exciting.
All right. So are you ready for some good news? Would anybody out there like good news? Raise your hand if you
Love
want
good news. I'll take good news. Yes, please.
Okay, so here's the good news. We were directly responsible for introducing Bill HB3 and at the beginning of 2024 through our House Representative Toby Overdorf. And I'm excited to say that it took a year, but as of January 2025, the largest pornography website in the world, Pornhub, pulled out of the state of Florida. And we were a huge part of that. And had we not introduced that whole idea, I don't know that it would have gotten done, but we
Right.
helped them and worked with them all the way through it.
And
And
you know,
I'm so excited.
part of the reason is about that is because there are children on that site. And you may not, you may be looking at the images and not realizing that that young
But that's
girl
a
is not just a young
16-year-old,
girl, she's
17-year-old,
actually
yes.
somebody who is being trafficked, held
Yes.
against her will,
And
and is
adults, too.
14 years old. And adults too.
Yeah.
You know, that is what's going on these pornography sites. I'm
Right.
sure there are some that are not, that, you know, are like the movies that happened in the 70s and 80s,
even
but
even the
a lot.
OnlyFans page, you know, there everybody's self-promoting. There's a whole lot of trafficking going on there too. And there's promotion going on all the time for little children to join this. It's called Bop House, right, Ryan? It's called Bop House. That is the children's version of OnlyFans. It's not a version, but it's kind of like the next stepping stone before you go to.
They're grooming them all the
OnlyFans. What
time.
in the world?
Our children
Yeah.
are being groomed all the
Yes,
time.
yes.
I used to say that, and think about it like this. Think about taking your kids to Chuck E. Cheese. You got all that noise and they're putting the coins in and they get all those tickets out and it's so noisy with bells and bells and bells and bells.
Mhm.
They're grooming your kids to go to casinos to gamble.
Oh,
I mean, truly,
Yes.
it's like a casino for kids.
Uh-huh.
That's what a lot of these
I
websites
never
are for.
realized that. Oh my gosh, I've taken my grandchildren to Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, we'll pray for them. But you know, that's the same thing with a lot of these sites for kids. It's just grooming them to be a customer
Right.
in the future
Right.
as adults.
All right, so I want to tell you about a couple of arrests that have happened just in this local area that we were really following closely, and I've interviewed detectives on these arrests. So the first one was in Jensen Beach. This was about a year ago. So there was this man that was part of this beautiful neighborhood in Jensen Beach, and they would have these neighborhood barbecues going from house to house.
Mhm.
And he was always there, and the families are there, and the children are there, and everybody's playing and so happy. He was always taking pictures.
Oh.
Always taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, one of the family members kind of noticed he was always taking pictures of children. They got suspicious, and they turned in a tip. And a couple tips came in. So this guy got investigated. Come to find out, he had been taking pictures of those neighborhood children in their own backyards, putting their faces on child porn with AI and marketing it worldwide. And many of those pictures can't be found and brought back. These children have been violated. Every time somebody looks at them, that's a violation. And so he was arrested and been indicted. But that was very, very serious of taking their pictures. Now, that happened. And then later on, there was a teacher of a very profound private school in our area of Martin County. Her husband, who was at the school quite often, had been taking, I don't know if he took pictures of the kids, but he was found with pornography of children, that he had stripped pictures of little children, even infants, off of social media, created his own child porn with AI using real faces of real children.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheriff Boonseek got on the news and he said, this is a real man creating these images. It's only a matter of time before he acts on them.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true. That's,
yeah.
I mean, there's the mustard seed there. But I dig a little deeper into that for me, because there's a point where you said, well, that child wasn't actually touched. That child wasn't hurt. It was her face on an image.
Let me tell you, it is not a victimless crime. So that child can be followed by face recognition, and AI can also create an image of that child and what that child will look like as they grow. And that family could be followed, and that child could be followed and sextorted later on in life. And that's often that's what happens.
That is what I have
They
heard
also
happened.
locate where the child lives. by
Mhm.
face recognition and GPS coordinates. Then this is
Yeah.
why, you want to be, if you remember, Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, they never let their children's faces be on camera
Mm-mm.
because
Smart people don't.
that. So we stopped doing that. And I know at Visionary School of Arts, they put smiley faces over all the children's faces. Now you're not going to see a child's face.
Mhm.
It's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
And so we have another story too. The one about Grok.
Oh, yeah, you recently posted that story. It said that there were new plaintiffs that in this class action lawsuit against Grok. And it alleged that the company's image generation of models were used to create child sex abuse material.
CSAM.
Exactly. And that the company failed to adequately share that information about the alleged predators with the authorities. So there were two plaintiffs, one in Wyoming and the other in Wisconsin. They joined the lawsuit filed by 3 Tennessee teenagers earlier that year, according to a complaint that was filed on Tuesday. So all the plaintiffs are referred to as Jane Doe. The suit was also expanded to include Stability AI, which is the company behind the Stable Diffusion Image Generator, as a defendant. There's a lot of big words in there, I know. So the suit alleges that the perpetrators, including the plaintiff's male friend and another plaintiff's stepfather, used the company's AI models to alter photos taken when the plaintiffs were underage to make it CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
So the problem is real pictures of real children and making them into whatever you want.
Mhm.
We have to have more legislation. Believe me, we're going to go after it. So what are the solutions to this? Well, okay, so here's how we see it. You have to have legislation and technology coming from the top down like this. And you are seeing more and more arrests because lawmakers and or law enforcement is getting more technology, and lawmakers are getting stiffer. And then you're seeing more indictments as well. And so that's important. But what we're doing too, UACT is coming from the ground up. And what we're doing is education and restoration. So restoring victims, but educating and bringing awareness in a grassroots movement that moves through communities and law enforcement coming from the bottom up. And you're going to have a meet in the middle here. And there's going to be crunch time coming for these predators and traffickers.
And it seems like this is a common problem we keep having, is that technology moves much quicker than we do.
But we're going to get ahead of it.
Right. But, I mean, we have all these now AI generated images, but no one thought about it before it happened, or if they did, nothing was done. And now we're catching up to it. Now the legislation is going to go into place.
So we have connections with the foremost spearheading technology in the country and also the world. We have connections in other nations now with technology that is breaking ground.
Yeah.
And this is exciting. So this is part of the solution, is getting that technology into the hands of law enforcement and getting it out into the internet world so that more and more safety measures can be put into place. And that's a good thing. Wouldn't you agree with that? And so I just want to wrap up, tonight by saying parent webinar, parent webinar, parent webinar. You need to be a part of this and really get the inside information about what these sadistic online enticements actually are, so that you can warn your children and you can take measures and certainly pray for your children, right?
Share that webinar with everybody you know.
Absolutely. We need your help. We really, really do. We're providing answers, but it takes people like you to spread the awareness and to cause this to go viral and get out there and save lives. So Bobi is the author of tell us about your book also. So they can find your book on Amazon.
Well, thank you. Yes, my book is on Amazon, or you can contact Lynn. I'm happy to sign a copy for you. It's called The First Shall Be Last, and it's a book about leadership, but more specifically, it's about servant leadership and what that looks like in a real company, whether it's Christian or not. But it's more than a management style, it's a lifestyle, and living to put others before yourself. And the whole basis of the book is actually finding your purpose in life, and that is to serve others as a way of serving God in the place where He placed you. And that could mean at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, in your job, in your family. How can you serve others? It's a Bible study that I hope will transform the culture of your home, your business, your nonprofit organization, your church, and hopefully your life. The first shall be last.
And I want to say that I'm so impressed with this book. I love the leadership skills that she's teaching. I think it's part of being a good disciple and follower of Christ. And so I'm going to ask our church to actually do this as one of our programs and a Bible study. I think it'd be fabulous.
Oh, I love it. I'll come.
Yeah.
I'll be a part of it. I would love to.
Let's do
That would
it.
be fantastic.
All right. So we just want to say one thing together. We're gonna do this
We're actually-
all together now.
Before
Yes.
we do that,
Oh,
I
okay.
just want to say that we did get some support from National Aesthetic Spa. Let's see, National Aesthetic Spa Network.
Thank you.
Who said thank you for all you and the entire UAC team does for our community.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
I believe that's coming from Denise, and she's in California. Thank you, Denise. We're so glad that you're on board and you've been through presenter training and you know a thing or two. And I'm just really glad that this awareness is getting out there more and more. And of all places to have it, spas and massage places, they legitimate
I know
ones.
about that.
They need this information because they could be part of the army to stop it, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. Anything else you wanted to bring up?
We did actually get a reaction from Amanda. She sent a little heart to us.
Thank you, Amanda.
And that, she actually spent money on that too. That was
Thank you,
great.
Amanda. That's right. Those
Oh.
hearts cost on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
I think we're supposed to accept that, but I don't really. Oh.
Okay. Something popped up.
All right.
All right. So what are we gonna say, Lynn?
All right. We're gonna say
Stand together,
guard,
take action, and protect your child.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I don't know.